Welcome to the demo judging day for the Hawaii Annual Code Challenge. After 3 weeks of hard work, you have made it to today. Congratulations. As you know, our theme this year is sustainability. And I wanted to give you just a little bit of feedback of how we did last time. We had less than 1 bag of trash that went to our trash. Everything else was recycled, compostable, or given to the animals. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Beth Kutch, and I've been helping to manage the Hawaii Annual Code Challenge this year. Just a couple housekeeping reminders. Please turn your cell phones to silent. This event is being live streamed and videotaped and photographed, and likely going to be on the news tonight. So by attending, you are giving us permission to use your image. You may notice that we are trying to do things a little differently to sync up with our sustainability theme. We are reducing our footprint as much as possible with less printing and paper, using compostable materials, and many other steps to try and create a green event. And you may have noticed that we decided not to do t-shirts. We did something a little bit smaller, a little bit less environmentally impactful. Thank you very much for your cooperation in this effort. Today we will start with our basic introductions. We will go to our presentations, lunch, and then awards. I'd now like to bring up Todd Nakapui, the Chief Information Officer of the state of Hawaii.
Aloha. Aloha. So welcome, it's demo day. So again, congratulations to all of you for making it this far. 3 weeks is a long time to be part of a hackathon, so congratulations. As you all know, the purpose of the hackathon is to provide a way for all of you to become civically engaged and help the state solve some of its biggest challenges that we have, especially this year around sustainability. Again, I'd like to commend all of you for your hard work. I know some of you will get nervous up here today as you do your presentation, right? I'd like to let you all know that we are very friendly judges, right? You don't have to worry that the governor is sitting right here. And we have also a state senator. Don't worry about that, okay? You'll be fine. You know, this is our 3rd annual hackathon, and it's awesome to see all of you here. And many of you know that this was Governor's idea when he turned to me when we were at the AT&T hackathon and said, we should do this. And 6 months later, with the help of all of our volunteers, and I really want to take this opportunity to thank all of our volunteers. Most of them have been here for the last 3 years. So let's give them a round of applause. Without them, you know, this event wouldn't be possible. And I'd also like to thank all of our sponsors, especially without them, none of this would be possible. So thank you, sponsors. And with that, I'd like to introduce someone who just won his re-election. We have 4 more years, right? I'd like to introduce someone who I think is one of the best leaders I've had the opportunity to work for, Governor David Ige.
Good morning and aloha. Aloha. It's really terrific to see so many of you still engaged and alert. I know that demo day is always the most exciting day for me. I really appreciated one of the things for Layla folks and the organizers, getting access to the projects ahead of today is very helpful. So I've had a chance to see what many of you have been working for before the demo, and it's amazing to see how far we've come in 3 years. I think the quality of the projects and the challenges that presented really says a lot about who you are and your engagement and your commitment to really wanting to make a difference for Hawaii. So I really wanted to thank all of you. Before we get too far into the judging, I really wanted to thank each and every one of you for your commitment over the last 3 weeks to help us be a better state and be a better government. So, you know, Code Challenge was started 3 years ago, as Todd had said, to really engage the local tech community and development community in helping us modernize state functions and services, ultimately for a more effective, efficient, and open government. This year, we're working towards the state's goals of sustainability. So we're really trying to make alignment with the broader government functions. And really, I'm proud to be governor of the state of Hawaii because it clearly is a statewide commitment to sustainability, to taking care of our natural resources, to really being a national and world leader when it comes to sustainability. And many of you have been working on different parts of the challenges that we are taking on as a state. Clean energy. California followed our lead and committed to 100% clean renewable energy for electricity. Solid waste reduction. We do know that are committed to reduction of 70% of our solid waste by 2030. Natural resource management, really taking care of our watersheds to our oceans. We know we need to do a better job, and the goal is to effectively manage 30% of the priority watersheds and 30% of our oceans, and really incorporating Native Hawaiian traditions and customary practices to help us be more efficient and effective in both of those areas. You know, we are definitely approaching the goal of protecting 250,000 acres of native watershed. And I'm excited because we are trying to create a carbon market so we can accept investments from all around the world to help Hawaii be greener and a much bigger carbon sink. We're committed to local food production, doubling food production by 2020, committed to smart, sustainable communities, and the goals of the Paris Climate Agreement. I'm still so proud that Hawaii is the only community, the only state for sure, committed to the goals of the Paris Climate Agreement, where we're reducing greenhouse gases and increasing carbon capture, so for the sake of saving the planet. And then finally, I know that many of you worked on the education and green workforce challenges, which really focus on how can we create jobs here in our community. So I just really wanted, as we get started on the demos, really thank each and every one of you for spending the time over the last 3 weeks. I know that there were many overnighters and many efforts to make the project work. I just really want to assure you from my perspective, you're all winners. Really wanted to thank you for taking the time and making the effort. And most importantly, I look forward to all the demos this morning. Aloha, mahalo, good luck to all. I did really want to thank CIO Todd Nakapoi and his team at the Office of Enterprise Technology Services. You know, we're in the middle of this big payroll project, and I know that many of them are involved with that. And yet they are committed to making and moving this move forward. Really wanted to thank the sponsors who allow us to put this program on. And finally, I wanted to thank the volunteers and partners who allow us to organize such a terrific event. And really, you know, most hackathons are 1 or 2 day activity. To keep it going for a month, I know it's taxing on all of you. It really is a challenge for the staff and state agencies who respond to questions and help you help us. So I really wanted to thank all of those involved. Aloha and mahalo.
Thank you, Governor, for all of your support over the years. The HACC wouldn't be here without you. I'd like to take this time to call out our sponsors. First off, at our terabyte level, we have the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Department of Agriculture, Kaiser Permanente, and transform Hawaii's government. At our gigabyte level, we have Data House, HACC, Salesforce, Carasoft, and Unisys. I'd now like to introduce your judges for today. These are the people you gotta love, right? Okay, so first off, we have Governor David Ige. We have Representative Jarrett Keoho Kalole. We have Todd Nakapui, CIO of the Office of Enterprise Technology Services. We have Miller Abel from the Principal Technologist for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We have Scott Enright, the Chair of the Department of Agriculture. We have Christine Sakuda, the Executive Director for Transform Hawaii Government. And we have Donna Scannell, Vice President for Kaiser Permanente. So what are they going to be judging you on today? Well, we're going to be looking at originality, design, sustainability, utility and impact, team collaboration, and presentation and delivery. So the videos you developed will go into a little bit of your presentation and delivery. The judges had access to view your videos from DevPost, as well as team collaboration. The challenge leaders have put input into how much you worked with the departments and trying to find out more information about the challenges. The second area that you were reviewed on was the technical review. We had a team of Jason Sewell from DevLead, Ed Souza, and Stuart Coleman from Hawaii Pacific University as our technical reviewers. In the technical review, they looked at technical implementation, quality of solution, innovation and excellence, user experience and design, and design. Design again, more design, lots of design. They went through that all within 2 days, as well as scheduled, I believe, about 10 demos from the different teams. So they did a lot of work, and thank you very much for your volunteer time. The next category that will be rated today is People's Choice. This is worth 5 points. It's a declining scale for the top People's Choice vote getters. It is by everyone in the audience is able to vote. And we ask that you only vote once, please. You will have 10 minutes from the close of voting to vote, or from the end of presentations to vote, and then it will be closed. Yes. I just want to let you know that sometimes we get feedback that, what happens afterwards, or what can teams get out of this besides just presenting here? For this year, we have a few different opportunities coming up. Two that I'd like to highlight is one that there will be, your solutions will actually be featured on the Aloha Plus dashboard on the state's website under the Innovation and Entrepreneurship section. This is going to provide an opportunity to showcase your innovations in a centralized platform that is publicly visible. Your challenge solutions are the type that the state is really looking for to help reach the Sustainable Development Goals. Also, select HACC Challenge Solution winners will have the opportunity to demonstrate and present their featured solutions at the Hawaii Green Growth Partnership event at the end of this month. And this is to local and global leaders in sustainability, including Native Hawaiian leaders and United Nations representatives. So it's not just today. These things will continue on. All right. So, what time is it? Demo time! Demo time! Let's go! So, it appears we have one team that did not make it today, unfortunately. That is the high school, Dev High, which is from HTA Charter School. But we have 19 teams presenting today. Woo! Awesome. So we're going to do a little technical switch up here. And we are going to get our first team up here, Itty Bitty Programming Committee.
Hi, we're the Itty Bitty Programming Committee. I'm Cynthia.
Good morning, I'm Chad. So we're going to be doing the Department of Agriculture Food Safety and Certification Challenge, specifically location-based reporting. And without going into too much detail, what this means is farmers have to keep a paper record for 2 years for anybody applying restricted use pesticides, not necessarily farmers. They're required to keep this paper record for 2 years. And like most forms, it has a lot of complicated fields. So that leads us to the problem. Yeah, next slide, thanks. Logs. So, thanks. So yeah, everybody who's dealt with logs knows it's a hassle. So whether you've tried to count your calories on your own, whether you've had like a financial log, or even worse, you've had your boss come to you saying something like, yeah, I'm going to need you to track all your activities throughout the day on a log. So we all know that's a nightmare pretty much. So what we're trying to do is find a simpler solution to deal with that. So yeah, take over.
Okay, so this is basically our solution. Can you play the video, please? So basically, our solution is, we were told explicitly to keep it very simple. So you'll see here, we only have 2 buttons really on the start page of our app. So basically both of these buttons, what they do once you press start, starts, logging your location, and when you press stop, it calculates the area that you went over. It does wind speed, temperature, it does date and location as well. So with a really simple design, with a really simple design, we can collect all of these pieces of data just with 2 buttons. So yeah, this is me walking around in a dark parking lot at like 7 p.m. So yeah, sorry, can we stop the video and go back to the slide, please? Okay. And next slide, please. And so this is the second page sort of our app. So all of the things that we cannot actually collect via like geolocation data, things like that, we will need to ask the user to enter in. But of course, this is just, we do have some other solutions in mind to make it so that you don't really need to enter anything. So next slide, please.
So obviously time is limited in this, so we would have loved to have done all these things. We're capable of doing most of these. But crucial one would be printing, because this is a paper log, so it would be something we'd be adding on next. We'd be printing the final report Cynthia just showed you. Beyond that, something Cynthia emphasized was simple, how simple this is supposed to be. So having spent my entire adult life doing either manual labor or military, I know that only thing worse than paper out in the field is complicated tech. So even though it's cool here to have like really fancy tech, if you're on the other side, if you're the user, then that might not be the case. So something we thought about along with that is maybe making a application-specific hardware using Arduino or something like that in a 3D printed case, ruggedized, weatherproof, or to use Android things or another Internet of Things type operating system to allow this to be integrated into some pre-existing ruggedized hardware. So this is more suitable for the field and more suitable for the users. Oh, that's it.
Is there a question?
There's the mic up there. So thank you for that.
Sure. Thank you for that. One quick question I had, going back to the app that you're demoing, what are you using as your platform for the geolocation? What did you dev on?
This is Android. We were just using Fuse location. So just Google Maps, which you saw, obviously. Beyond that, you were asking for.
So no, that's it for the geolocation.
Other questions?
And for wind speed and direction collection, was there a database that you had to query for that that was time related?
Yes, so what I did was we used the Open Weather Map API. And so I just put in the query based on geolocation data. I sent it latitude, longitude coordinates, and it sent back out basically all the things, weather stuff.
Did that include the direction? Because I noted in the video, it seemed like it had the wind direction. It said like 5 miles an hour, but it didn't tell me which direction it was blowing.
That is a part of that, but I did put that in there. I can add it in though. Very easy to do.
Any other questions? Point.
Yeah, thank you for making it user-friendly. Most Aggies look like me. They're about 60, so they'll appreciate that. How difficult would it be to put the voice recognition in?
We're already assuming that you have network connectivity. So if that was the case, then voice recognition, there's a number of ways to do that. So, and since we're just having a start and stop button, it wouldn't be too hard to do that.
Thank you. Thank you for the work.
Okay. Time? We now have Team Mahi Spray, who is also focusing on the Department of Agriculture.
What you doing? Consider the produce that hits the table that you're eating. Consider the trust we put in our farmers to grow this and help put us on our table. We need to keep and track this right. Play the video.
Today, pesticides are used all over the world to save crops. Their excessive or improper use can result in chemicals seeping into our water resources, reaching animal life and people directly or even indirectly through our farm foods. Team Mahi Spray is taking on the challenge from the Department of Agriculture to provide a solution for farmers to comply with the judicial requirement for pesticides. The task of tracking pesticide use is daunting for the farmer and for the DOA.
We have a solution. Time to garden with some extra aloha.
We gathered our team together and created a Mahi Spray mobile application so that farmers can help track and log their pesticide use. Once logged in, the farm manager would input their commodity data and add their farm specifications.
They would divide up their lots into sections. Once the farm is created, they would start logging their pesticide use. The user would choose the date and lots they are working on, and then assign a pesticide where he or she enters in the required pesticide log information. They would then drag and drop the assigned pesticide in the sections of the farm where it is applied. Additional notes such as dilution rate and who the certified applicator to be added per log day.
Once found, the data is saved and stored in a file format and can be accessed for personal record keeping or sent to the DOA for auditing purposes. Function 2 provides links to resources such as dilution rates, DOA certification process, and pesticide databases.
Our app will help farmers track and log their pesticide use so food safety and environmental hazards are minimized. The state of Hawaii, DOA, and farmers together can further promote agriculture sustainability and build a stronger INA from the ground up.
Keep the slow
So you've seen how the app works, but how is it built? And so for that, we use a single language called Swift. It's open source, making it extremely user accessible. In fact, so user accessible, even the farmer can go into the app, edit the source code, and even access the database so the app adapts to the farmer's needs. Again, the use of a single language is really our strength here. It's making this app more user accessible than probably any other.
Team Mahi Spray, along with the state of Hawaii, are just so excited to help this legislation come to pass. Our app is going to build a stronger INA, help our ohana blaze the way for the world. Questions?
So strictly from a platform, Swift is what you used for that? What is the name of the platform?
Yes, Swift.
So strictly from that perspective, how easy would it be to add additional modules to it? Things like voice recognition, things like more accurate data location, because I don't know how accurate or what that code looks like, because dragging and dropping right where they put pesticides, I know that there's a regulation for being very accurate in the spray area. So how accurate is the geolocation? Because I'm not familiar with this platform at all.
So one, Swift is owned by Apple, but it's open source. So there's a huge company behind it. APIs are everywhere. There's a plethora of them. And what do you speak of? Yes, there's an API for everything. There's an Maps API. There's a voice recognition API that Siri is based on. So you're getting the most advanced APIs for use in this. Two, we built the app to be modular. So we made heavy use of delegates. And as you saw, we had a card design language here. So if you need anything added to the app, it's modular. It's very user accessible. Again, like I said, the farmer can actually edit the source code themselves.
So first, I'm going to see if Scott could actually make a change for us, maybe on the fly. No, seriously. So you're using Swift now. It is open source, of course. It's supposed to be cross-platform in air quotes, but it was designed by Apple for iOS specifically and for Macs. So how does this get to be cross-platform? Does it run on Android today?
It is open source, so yes, it is in effect for Android. People are using it for web apps. It's using tandem with Firebase, which is actually what we're using for the authentication and database model. So yeah.
And so, but is the app itself running on an Android phone today, or is that work still TBD?
No, we keep it on iPhone for now, for the sake of simplicity and ease and getting this app done by the deadline.
Oh yeah, for sure. Great, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mahi Spray, for your demonstration. Can we keep that by chance? You know, I haven't eaten breakfast yet. High school sports pays off. Our next team is Buff and Blue. They are a high school team from Punahou, and they are focusing on the DOE challenge.
We'd just like to say, great presentation. Oh, sorry. Okay, so we'd like to start by saying that was a great presentation by Mahi Spray. I'm Diza. This is Brandon, and this is Jason.
Yeah, well, it allows collaboration between teachers of different fields, schools, and experiences. So we made Edulime a platform of the best accumulation of tools, allowing teachers anywhere to share information and connect with each other. Getting started is easy. All you need to do is register. The Resource Hub is a tool that a teacher can use to upload their own resources, whether it be assignments or lesson plans. The Creative Commons tool lets teachers find spaces where they can innovate or meet and discuss subjects with other teachers. Teacher Match helps teachers find other teachers under certain search criteria. Teachers have the ability to filter by categories. The Corpus platform is built around the idea of innovation and advancement of ideas through collaboration. So we decided to build the innovation board. a digital version of a Creative Commons that allows effective real-time collaboration with other teachers. The Innovation Board is an instantaneous markup tool that works across the net with multiple people. It takes the hassle out of file sharing and platform mismatches. It remains professional and respects the privacy of teachers while conducive to productivity. Forget paper notes. Any file on the Resource Hub can be edited through the Innovation Board. When we connect teachers, we create the future. Vetuline will make this truth a reality.
So we're going to go ahead and use an example account to log in and get started. So first you'll be taken to Teacher Match as shown in the video, where you can access fellow colleagues as well as find collaborative opportunities. In the resources library, you can access a multitude of educational resources and share your own with fellow educators. Your bookshelf is where your resources live, where your uploaded files and lesson plans will be organized and archived. You can also post a comment or leave a rating to evaluate these resources you find, as well as thank the author.
The most powerful part of our platform is how all the components are integrated into each other. Any file in the resource library can be edited on the Innovation Board, and over here, teachers can work together to annotate the document. So I'm gonna, and as the Governor EJ said, this helps reduce solid paper waste. And I'm gonna ask one of our team members in the audience, Rajet, is gonna demonstrate the live feature. So, as you can see, his name popped up on the right, and he's gonna draw a little bit.
We have built a powerful, responsive platform that connects teachers as well as innovates education in Hawaii. We have Edgeline, which is powerful, cross-platform compatible, as well as sustainable. You can visit our live demo today.
What are you using as a resource hub?
Are you asking how it's built?
Yeah.
So we're using Node.js and yeah, Jason.
Okay, so we used Node basically for our server side. So also we use like Gulp to like compile all the resources that we need, like the Node modules. And then for the front end, we use like libraries like Bulma to do the styling.
So how big is your team? Are there more in the audience? And how did you all work together as a group?
So Raja was our videographer, and he did the live demonstration. This is Giza. She did all the design work, and then I did a lot of the front end and the deployment. And this Jason, he did the back end and like working with database.
Can you talk a little bit about privacy issues? You are going to have collaboration between teachers, and so inevitably maybe the need for some type of privacy and sincerity in their conversations might be valuable. Maybe folks work that into your system.
Yeah, so that's a major component of our platform, and we're still in the process of discussing and like implementing that kind of details. But given the time frame, it's just more of something that we're planning to work on.
So as of right now, it's completely open.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
What, can you guys talk a little bit about the resource library? Is that accessing existing educational materials, or is that something that you would build as you go along? And then I guess at some point in time, you got to deal with copyright or that kind of question.
Well, mainly it's a place for teachers to upload their own files and be able to get other teacher files. And we didn't want to reinvent the wheel because there's a lot of resources already on the web, on like the internet. But we just wanted to make it a really convenient place for teachers to find resources quickly.
Thank you.
we're doing this a little out of order, but we wanted to put the two high school teams together to present. So our second high school team presenting today is going to be Mililani High School, and they are presenting on the University of Hawaii Energy Management Challenge.
Hi, we're Mililani High School, and we're proud to present FDASCAB, a streamlined application to allow UH Department of Sustainability to visualize their electrical usage data. Because we anticipated a lot of work in this project, we split our labor into 3 sub-teams: database, interface, and graph.
Hi, I'm Shane Parslow. I represent the database/backend part of our team. So the format that the data was provided to us in was a spreadsheet, so also known as a CSV file. So the very first thing our application does when it starts is it automatically goes through and looks in the spreadsheet data for all of the different buildings that UH is tracking with their energy network. So that means that if UH adds buildings to their energy network or removes buildings from their network, that it will automatically be taken care of within our program. And so that means it's very simple. The end user doesn't need to do anything in order to add more buildings or remove them. Our program is also very optimized and fast due to the fact that we never store the entire spreadsheet, which can be quite large in some cases, in memory. We only store the sections of the spreadsheet that are actually being used that the user wants to see. So that means a lot less memory usage, and it's overall a lot faster. Our database is also stored in a very easily manipulated format by developers. So that means that it's very easy to add on plugins if you wanted, or just overall add more to our code. And it's very simple to work with the database. To create it and interface with it, you only need to use 1 line of code. That's it.
Hi, my name is Tyler Richard, and I represent the interface team for our application. So there's a couple things I want to present to you today. The first being, you see the buttons right next to the graph area on our interface. These buttons are actually modular. So what happens is that they take the headers from our database and then take the amount and name of headers and populate the buttons into the application. So it dynamically changes as the CSV changes values. In addition, I would also like to point out the interval entering boxes at the top. While they may seem like just normal interval entering boxes, we actually built in error checking into them. So say the user enters a value outside of the range, or they leave one of them blank. Instead of crashing the program will simply return an error message.
Hi, I'm Jimmy DiGiacinto, and I represent the graph subteam. So we chose a line graph because it's the best for visualizing data trends over time, and it allows the user to see certain anomalies in the data. The data for the graph is provided directly to the graph team from the database team's work. And our graph is in the form of kilowatts of electricity used over a specified interval of time. And there's the option to add vertical lines to denote noon and midnight on the graph, so you can easily visualize the days where the data occurred.
And so we're going to take you guys through a brief technical demo. Okay.
So this is great. Thank you, guys. Quickly, a couple of things. I guess it looked like you got the fastest you could get to a really clean UI, and that's awesome. I guess I was looking for calendar controls for the intervals, just to make it simple for someone to just, an end user to come at it and say, I want that day to this day. Kind of a visual stand, kind of like a hotel room booking, that kind of thing. Good for future. It doesn't really detract from where you were now. That was one. Second was the ability to export to PDF a readable, printable report. Is that available currently in your system, or how would you go about doing that?
Addressing both points. So for the calendar, that wasn't a feature we initially intended on implementing. However, it didn't come to fruition as the data was not interfacing with the graph parameters. Considering the PDF, that is not a current function. However, with the library that we use, it is doable and it is available.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so that concludes our high school teams presenting today. We are moving on to our next challenge, which is the Department of Education Equitable Access to Education Challenge. Our first general category team that's going to be presenting on that is Holo EDU, or Holo.
Good morning, and aloha. And today, our team will be presenting Holo EDU to solve the Department of Education's challenge of equitable access to education.
So, Hawaii, where innovation and paradise meet. This is the vision that we want for the place we call home. 18 billion. This is how much the U.S. spends in teacher networking and training related costs. 19 schools, 19 school days per year. That's how much teachers are not teaching their students to do training. 81% budget cuts. That's how much schools are affected by a recent budget cuts to education. And $480 per year. That's how much teachers are spending out-of-pocket costs. So we met with our customers, Hillary, Mickey, Rachel, and several teachers. And this is what they wanted us to focus on, sustainability. So being able to easily integrate into databases and Aloha Plus Challenge platform. Network effects, being able to represent different demographics across the nation. Resource efficiency, so being able to easily implement and allocate resources in the most efficient manner. Engaging, social media-like. Gamification, so being able to make it user-friendly and excite people to use it. Obviously, desktop and mobile. All right, so this is where a Holo EDU comes into play. All right, profile. So our platform is going to have key demographics by the teacher, such as their education, what school they teach in and everything. Groups, people will be able to join a group, invitation only, make a group, and match groups. Collaboration will be feed page, resource page, and and site. So this is where the gamification comes into play. And it's for teachers, community, and supporters. Sorry. So the Department of Education, if you guys want us to be able to integrate this, we'll need access to databases, coalition, and sponsorships. And history is often the best teacher, correct? And Confucius said it best. If your plan is for 1 year, plant rice. If your plan is for 10 years, plant trees. If your plan is for 100 years, educate children. That's where our Holo EDU comes into play. Thank you.
In your write-up, you mentioned the use of chatbots. How do you see chatbots being used in your application?
Yeah, so chatbots is essentially so teachers don't have to go use their email, just so they can communicate through the platform automatically. Instead of having to do two different things at the same time, just on there in the platform.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi. It seems like you spent a lot of time working out the process and trying to really understand what the teachers wanted, and that took a lot of time with the process. Can you explain the amount of how you approach your time constraints with? I know you didn't demo a product, but it seemed like you did a lot of upfront.
Absolutely, you can demo. We have the website up, but I mean, whenever you do a design. Whenever you do design, obviously, you don't want to just start making stuff and have no idea what the customer actually wants. So that's what we did. We talked to Hillary, Nikki, invited them to our chat group. We also met with Schofield Barracks Elementary School and asked their vice principal and the principal about what they needed and talked to some teachers as well. And most of our time was spending that and figuring out exactly what they want. And from there on, we can not easily, but make what they want.
Thank you very much, Holo EDU. Our second presenter that undertook the DOE challenge is No Internet.
Okay, good morning. My name is Angela, and this is my colleague Ian. We are part of Team No Internet, and we would like to present our app, HACC. So as you may already know, there's a lot of room for improvement regarding educational resources here in Hawaii, including teacher collaboration and finding funding for school supplies. So our app, HACC, helps to solve this problem by engaging educators in an interactive community where they can share resources and intellect. Our app contains the following features, which we will demo shortly. One of the main components of our solution is the token system. So here's a rundown of how it would work. Here, we see two users. One is making a request and one is providing. So requesting causes the user to lose a token, while the provider gains the token. The token system prevents the app from being overflowed with requests by putting a limit on how many requests a teacher can make. They can gain more tokens by sharing resources. It's also an incentive to share resources, and it also keeps it in balance so that not too many people are just giving or not too many people are just requesting.
And now for the application. So as you can see here, this is the home page, and it shows a feed of all the requests and offers that teachers have. Here, teachers can create posts and reply to others if they want more information about the request or offer. They can trade items such as school supplies, worksheets, and lesson plans. We also created a forum. So here, teachers can ask questions, receive feedback, discuss any tips or teaching strategies that they can possibly implement into their classroom. The forum is organized by subjects, so if teachers want to talk about math, then they can go into the math section and talk in there. Likewise, if teachers want to talk about non-subject related topics, then they can go to either general discussion or off-topic section. And this allows for teachers to organize events and workspaces. So overall, the forum feature creates a collaborative environment for the teachers. Another feature that we added was the matching system. The app will automatically match the teachers that are nearby and share the same interests. In the matching system, teachers can search for other teachers if they need their contact information, such as the school they go to, their email, their phone number. Lastly, we added a direct messaging system to allow teachers to have one-on-one conversations with one another. This can be especially useful if teachers want to set up meeting times to trade their supplies, or if teachers use it to simply socialize with one another. Thank you.
What programming tools did you use fundamentally for this, and what open source platforms, if any, did you use?
Well, we used Node.js to develop our app. We just use HTML, CSS, JavaScript. We also paint some libraries like jQuery for most of the functionality.
Thank you.
Is there any thought been giving into open it up to like community members? So if you're at a school, for instance, when you're asking for resources, right, like crayons or what have you, has there been any thought on how you would manage the community being able to donate those items that a teacher is asking for?
So maybe we could have put it so that community members can also make accounts, but they're more limited, and they're just there to provide, and so they can have the same functions as teachers where they can request and provide, but for most part they can only provide since they shouldn't be requesting. Teachers need the resources.
Have you had teachers test out the system, and what sort of feedback have you gotten?
So we haven't had any teachers test it yet, but that was a plan that we had for future implementation. So if we were to develop it, continue developing it in the future, we were thinking of possibly testing it with teachers at Pika High School, since that's where we're from.
Any other questions? Very good. Thank you.
Okay, we are moving on to our next challenge. This was put forth by the Department of Land and Natural Resources, and this was to work with rare plant permitting and locating. And our team to do this one today is called the Bird Squad.
All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Camelia, and this is Josh. We're here representing the Bird Squad. So as we learned on kickoff day, there are two different kinds of Naupaka plant species. Each one has a different half flower, one from the ocean and one from the mountains. These two halves come together to make a full flower, and that's part of the inspiration that went into our Kumu system, which is a two-part system that bridges the disparity between rare plant data collection and visualization in order to help solve our community's unawareness of native plant plants. So we're going to do a short demo of our system.
All right, so here's our app. I'm going to start off with airplane mode because I'm a deer researcher and I'm out hiking and there's no air connection. So you start off by typing in a plant name. So I'm going to just type one out, and if I'm a researcher, it'll make it a little hard to remember or type out specific taxa names. I can take up to 10 images. So I guess I'll just do a shock or something. Too late, maybe. Okay. All right. And we have all the fields that were requested from or required from the DLNR, so you can type in certain things and input your fields required. But as a researcher, I might be too busy taking pictures of the plants and trying to log data than actually filling out the form themselves. So I can have a finish later option and actually go back and finish my form later with all my fields still existing. So I'm going to just put a location thing here. So here's all the other pieces of information that you can enter in, but just because of time constraint on the presentation, I'm just going to sort of zoom past them. These are all optional data fields. Also, those images are geotagged, and you don't need to have data collection for that. So I hit submit on the form, but obviously because we are not on any internet connection, I shouldn't have actually been able to submit to the database. So if I were to go into the website, search up the flower, and also we have autocomplete on here as well, you'll see that it does not pop up. However, if I turn on our if I turn off airplane mode and wait for the Wi-Fi to reconnect, and now it should be reconnected. And so now I'm going to go back into the Puma app, and now it should have automatically synced to the database. So I'm going to just refresh our form here. And our stats button. Sorry. Let me try to restart that because sometimes Wi-Fi connection takes a little bit to actually be reconnected. Huh. Well, okay. Maybe it's just because my computer keeps turning off. Anyway, so on our website, we have a list of common names for Pika. Is one of the examples that we were demoing the tech demo on Friday. And so we have information for the common name, federal status, whether it's endangered, not reported, or threatened, the plant type, location notes if required. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Questions?
So one of the challenges you said you ran into was the formatting fields and reporting requirements by Department of Land and Natural Resources in Equitable toolbox. What would you suggest, or what would be easier for you guys to interact with, or from that perspective, what would you like to see from the DLNR to make your app a little bit easier to function with and pull the information that you need from them?
So the DLNR does have their own website that they have. Users register for a application for a certain permit for a certain plant species that they're going to report for. So if we actually had access to their database too, then we would be able to autocomplete pretty much like maybe the first form basically, which is the the plant name and the organization name and etc.
So it's not available for you guys to interact with through an API right now?
It doesn't seem like they have an API.
Something we'll work on.
I have to give you credit for trying to drop the Wi-Fi and reconnect in the middle of your demo. That was a courageous thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it does work, but I think it's because my computer I think it's dying. The battery is purposely just turning off by itself.
My question was, what did you expect to have happen?
So what does actually happen is when the Wi-Fi is reconnected on reloading on the app, then it will actually sync all the forms to the database and it'll pop up, which is what happened in our tech demo for our plan.
Thank you very much. Moving on to our next challenge. This was a joint challenge posed by a nonprofit called Kupu and the Department of Land and Natural Resources to help both their staff, the public, people going out hiking, people going out looking for plants, whatever it might be, to be able to easily identify plants in the wild. So our first team to propose on the plant identification is Gucci Gang.
I know what flower that is. Do you have any idea what it is?
I have no idea, dude. Well, you know what? I have this app, and maybe I can identify it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. INET implements Google's TensorFlow Lite, a powerful machine learning library specifically designed for mobile devices. Simply point the camera at the plant you want to identify, and let our machine learning model determine the plant in real time. Once our model has determined what plant it is, instantly find out its conservation status, family name, scientific name, nativity, and much more. Our database contains hundreds upon hundreds of native plants in Hawaii. Easily search for any plant and find out its information.
And this app is so amazing, I know, right? But can I identify that plant? Yeah, of course. Sure.
If our model cannot correctly identify your plant or flower, then upload it to the database where experts can classify and help further train the model for more accurate results.
Hi, we're Team Gucci Gang. This is Dave, and I'm Brent. Hawaii's native plants are unique, culturally important, and majority are critically endangered. But with the help of you, the users, our application can help with conservation, sustainability, and most importantly, environmental education for the people. But finally, despite our application being trained to identify native Hawaiian plants, it can easily be scalable to things, to identify other objects, such as native Hawaiian or native animals, or even other areas of study, such as agriculture and farming, to create a better Hawaii. Thank you.
So we've actually been playing with a lot of the Google AI. So the question I have for you, because we've run into this probably as well, is when you're starting to train with the Google AI, having to scrape the images, do you have problems in putting anything in Hawaiian?
Putting anything in Hawaiian?
In Hawaiian, using Hawaiian language, Hawaiian word.
Well, so as of right now, we created a Python script which basically scrapes all images from a Google query. So for example, if we took in let's say hibiscus, for example, right? We typed in the query Hawaiian hibiscus. Basically what it did was we set a limit to how much images that we want, and it would try to take up to, at a limit, that much images. And based off of like the top 500 Google search images from that result, we would try to get that. And then I personally kind of had to like clean out some of the anomalies that I had. For example, like there would be like a person with like a Hawaiian hibiscus tattoo or just like a Hawaiian hibiscus perfume and stuff like that. So there weren't a lot of those, but then we just had to remove some of those anomalies. And the majority of them were flowers. As opposed to that's for more of the common flowers, but in terms of like the rare and indigenous, those are basically user driven. So based off of like what people report, they upload the database, the experts classify it, they determine what it is, and then we just train our model on that to expand it.
Did you work with the DLNR and get data from them as well as training sets that you could use as the sort of reference material?
Yes, so many of the information that you search for a plant database were based off of what they had given us. But in terms of like the actual machine learning model, we needed much more images to be able to classify it at a higher accuracy. So just for a proof of concept, we went over like the common flowers, hibiscus, what's it called, plumeria, bird of paradise, etc.
Many of the Hawaiian flowers have okinas and kahakos in them. So how does the machine learning account for those dynamics?
So the dynamics is in like,
well, when it's trying to recognize a Hawaiian word, and if it has the okina and the kind of kahako over it, or not in some cases, how does it intelligently address that?
Okay, well, a way to kind of address that is be able to get the actual the value of the character. So in a sense that we can map the value of that character, whether it has an okina or not, to the specific value to see if it matches. So.
Thank you.
Our next presenting team on the plant identification is Mea Kanu.
Aloha mai kākou. Ko mea kanu ke ia ka polokamo. Aloha to all of us. This is Mea Kanu, the app. Mea Kanu is one way to say plant in Hawaiian. The app's purpose is to bridge the gap between technology and nature in order to malama pono or righteously take care of endangered species. We believe that reaching the keiki with today's technology is most important. Mixing traditional Hawaiian knowledge with technology, we integrated La'aula Pa'au, or Hawaiian plant medicine, into our app. This was passed out from Kumu Levan Ohai to Kumu Kioki Baklaian, who was my kumu here at UH Mano. The Mea Kanu app is meant to inspire people to plant and protect native plants on hikes or even in their own backyards. He kiki aloha na Mea Kanu. Beloved children are the plants. We must malama our plants as we do our children. Mahalo nui. Please enjoy everything.
Hawaiian culture is about passing knowledge from generation to generation. We seek to perpetuate that cycle. We want the old and the young to learn from each other. Hawaii's ecosystem is world-renowned to be rich in biodiversity, but it's under threat. Where many of our native species are endangered or at the brink of extinction. When we lose biodiversity, we lose our beauty, our culture, and ultimately ourselves. Over 100 of our species are already extinct, and 366 species are critically endangered. Mea Kanu can uphold the tradition of Malamanaya, protecting our native plants, passing down knowledge, and continuing the cycle. Mea Kanu allows you to send a picture to our convolutional neural network, which can automate the process of accurately identifying plant species. Using state-of-the-art machine learning techniques like fine-grained categorization, we can provide the user with accurate information so that they have the power to help protect our own land. With technology and tradition, we can go forward with both. Mea Kanu will address botanical taxonomy gaps, identify new species, and control the balance of our ecosystem. Let's perpetuate the cycle of knowledge with Mea Kanu.
Thank you.
The same question is, we as my department's been working a lot with AI and trying to understand and trying to get it to recognize just different things in Hawaiian. We've been trying to translate our Hawaii state legislative laws into Hawaiian. We've been having a lot of difficult time because of the interpretation of word to word. So how hard was that with you from plant to plant? Because you said you have 100 different plant species already identified. And on top of that, you're in Google Play Store, so congratulations on getting your app completed for that. But how hard was that for you guys to start, getting your AI or whatever you guys use for your AI to really accurately identify the plants in native Hawaiian?
So we use convolutional neural networks and we put together 50 images per plant species. And then we separated 10% for test, and that's where we came up from the accuracy. And we basically categorize as classes. So we classified those classes and then look at a data set to see all the names and all the descriptions of the claim. So basically, when we do the classification, it's just number 0, 1, 2, 3, and then we go to a data set to collect all this information.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we are on to our third team that did the plant ID, and that is the OHIA AI team.
Aloha, everyone. We are ohia.ai, and we built an AI-powered application that you can use on your phone to identify and protect the native plants of Hawaii. But we would much rather show you than simply tell you. So with that said, let's go to the next slide and cue the video, please. Thank you.
Hawaii's nature is beautiful and powerful. Unfortunately, almost 1/3 of native Hawaiian plants are endangered or threatened on some level. Many of these plants have rich native Hawaiian stories and histories.
Some of the knowledge is lost or trapped in books, and then many people know how Hawaiians of old would use them in their everyday lives, because their world was just nature. They didn't have all the technological marvels of the time. That their own technological marvels of their time, which was based on the natural environment, the natural world around them. So they would have people who were very knowledgeable about plants in general. They would be able to identify plants themselves and gather specific plants for medicinal or other purposes.
Ohia.ai spreads public awareness and information on native plants by identifying their photos using artificial intelligence and providing the government with the locations of endangered plants so that they can be protected.
So Ohia.ai is giving us not only the neighborhood plants for the top 100 plants, some of the terrifying stories, one of them going out, one of them might say, but there are some good plants. And the northern out there does that.
We are Ohia.ai, and we believe in preserving the rich natural environment of our islands.
It's part of what we say, like,
And questions, please.
Similar question as before in terms of where do you get your data, your major data sets, number one, and number two, specifically related to the Hawaiian stories that I think are important incorporation. How do you envision incorporating that in?
So our metadata is acquired mainly from the Bishop Museum's database. We spent a lot of effort scraping a lot of native Hawaiian plants. We also downloaded about a quarter of a million just plant-specific images from a database known as PlantNet. And even before that, we started with a general computer vision data set known as ImageNet, which consists of a million images. And we used all of that to train our network.
And with regard to the cultural elements and the native Hawaiian stories specifically, I think that we would envision it as engaging with members of the community and people who are really connected with the land, who really have a sense of ownership and connection, who can give us authentic stories and uses. For example, one of our team members, Joe, unfortunately he was sick today. He's the individual who was doing much of the speaking in the video. He's actually connected to the lands and I believe works on a farm. And so he was involved in the curation of some of those stories and uses connected to native Hawaii.
So this is for someone like me who doesn't speak tech, this seems to be the third presentation consecutively that deploys a similar type of technology. You mentioned the story aspect of it. I'm interested in your opinion on what sets your project apart from the prior two presentations.
So,
you keep it clean.
Oh, so non-techie speak? Or
yes, please.
So actually,
time, so save by the bell. You can, if you want them to answer.
we compared a lot of different models, and actually, for a lot of the ones that you just pop in a module, we did a lot of tuning and a lot of work on that. So we got like pretty good percentages. If you go to our GitHub, I want to say that.
Just to make it even a little bit less techy, we scraped thousands of images and we really did try to make an effort to make it specific to Hawaii. We included Hawaiian names, we included history and uses connected to the past of those plants, and we want to continue pushing in that direction with more time in the future.
All right, we have one more team that undertook the Kupu DLNR Plant Identification Challenge, and that team is Plant Hawaii. Woo.
So, hi, we are Plant Hawaii. My name is Sean, and this is Keikoa, and we went to develop an app that would help us easily recognize plants with convenience, simplicity, and a beautiful design.
Yeah, so we created visual mockups to give you guys a better understanding of exactly what our app can do. So we have on our homepage just the plant of the day, which gives you information on scientific name, Hawaiian name, the story behind it, uses, location as well by island. And we just have our 4 links linking to our different pages. So we're going to click on the browse page. We would go to basically just a gallery of all the plants in our database. So you can filter that by island or by federal status. And then also we have a search function, which basically, it's pretty straightforward if you're looking for a specific plant that you're researching. And then also we have the camera, which is obviously the most important part of this app. So if you click on the camera, we have a fully functional camera that works right now. And you can determine whether it's a flower or a leaf. And when you take the photo, so if you click on the picture button, it would return the results, which we have currently 12 plants that are working at 90 to 91% accuracy. And as more users submit photos, it would better train our system to make our machine learning more diverse and more accurate. And then also you can submit reports. So if you click on the Submit Report tab, we currently have where you can submit different types. If you click the drop down, we can submit to our admin users if there is incorrect identification or if you're requesting identification. So our admin users basically will have more access to the app where they can correctly identify if our machine learning does not work. And if you click the drop down again, we will have where you can submit if your plant is endangered, invasive, or threatened, which that will send to the Department of Land and Natural Resources. And it will be geotagged so that they can properly track these plants for the future federal status. And then if you go back to the home page, we have an upload function. So if you have a photo from previously that you didn't have the app before, or if you just didn't have any internet connectivity, so our app is fully functional offline, and it'll store the photo and the report that you submit, so that when you get better internet connection, it will automatically submit the report for you. And if you click the menu button, you see we decided to gamify our app so that it can encourage users to go out and identify more plants. So users get point system and you have a garden. So as you identify more plants, you get more plants in your garden. You get to see your garden grow, and you get more points. Yeah, thanks for listening.
What state of development are you in now? Is it done or are you still?
So our application was done. We had it built into separate parts because of the size of the application. We had separated into a number of teams, from database to front end, back end, the people linking it with our proper security drivers and user authentication and all of that. So we had it built in pieces. When we tried to merge it on the final day of submission, we accidentally caused a bug somewhere in our GitHub merging process, and everything after that would not work together at all. But separately, the majority of all the pieces still work, so we just have to figure out where the bug came from, and then it'll be back to fully functional again.
Great. Well, congratulations. That bug never happens on demo day. You're the first.
Can you talk a little bit more about the gamified piece of it? Because I think that's an interesting way to get users to, adopt to it and use the app a little bit more.
Of course. So for the gamification, basically the goal was there were several games like Ingress, Pokemon Go. They're making a Yu-Gi-Oh one for any Yu-Gi-Oh fans out there. And it's the way that it swept the nation with encouraging all users to not only walk around and become healthier through active lifestyles, but also meet up with other people and make new friends. Well, the same thing with this. We can encourage people to go on hiking trails, integrate with other APIs to let people know where to go to hike, what's the safety of the hike, good conditions to take on it. And then going through that, then they can take photos and get points for identifying the plants, which then they can share to Facebook, and we can integrate with other mobile networking platforms to encourage users to spend more time outside and to learn more about the plants. And we can incorporate other quizzes and stuff like that to see, like, name that plant and things like that.
Good, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to give our judges a 5-minute break in case of necessary consultation, running out of the room to grab something real quick. whatever it may be. But I ask that all the teams and audience members remain in the room. And if judges, if you need to, you can take a 5-minute break.
Because they're using like a yeah.
Yeah.
I had known that I could have just given up.
Yeah, he knows. That's why he's. What are you gonna say? One, two.
So another benefit of letting our judges take a few-minute break is that we got the sound issue resolved, so no more fuzziness. Yay! All right.
The mic sounds good.
Okay. So in theory, we got it resolved. Okay, I turned it off, I turned it on, we're all there. Okay, so sound is better, yay, okay. All right, now we are on our next challenge, which is for the University of Hawaii Energy Management Challenge. And our first team is Na Ikehu.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ross. I am the backend developer for Nana Ikehu. Today, I'll be your user experience for this presentation. One of the challenges that we did is the energy consumption and trends challenge. This is part of the University of Hawaii. They have a proprietary database system that has a lot of records inside. They're trying to track the energy usage across campus. So what we did is we took a look at the data and we decided that we would pull the raw data from the SQL database that they have and integrate it directly into our app so that they can just run a query on the database and supply the necessary information into our app. We built the application using Meteor.js, React, Semantic UI, and Victory Graphing Engine. These things together can be launched on any platform, Windows, Linux, whatever you desire. And then, like I said, the data comes directly from the database that UH is using. Here we have a demo video of our application. As you can see, this is a summary view. This is an aggregate view of a certain time period. It shows the total usage at UH. It also shows a pie chart which divvies up the different buildings and how much each of the different buildings use. And because we pulled the raw data from the database, we can also see the peak usages, which wasn't necessarily included in the usage data, and also the time of those peak usages. And also, and then in the next video, we show how you can look at individual buildings and pull data from certain time periods. So here's a map view, and then you would just go ahead and select a certain building. And when you click the building, you're presented with a graph. There's a text summary on the top that shows the summation and also the maximum usage point and the date and time. The graph is fully interactive. You can scroll, zoom, define a certain time period that you want to pull the data from. and, zoom in accordingly and then, print out your shot or get a screenshot of the graph. So this data, like I said, comes straight from the database book. One thing we would like to do is expand on it and develop a post-REST API so that people can get this data. I mean, it's really high barrier to entry to download, Microsoft SQL Server and really get into the details. So we want to make it easy for everybody to fetch this data and integrate into the Hawaii Aloha Plus dashboard. Thank you.
Have you guys tried to plug it in any type of predictive analytics? Because you're doing a data visualization model here, right? So can you predict trends with the information that you have right now? Have you looked at putting any of that in there?
We attempted to, but because of the variability of UH's schedule, the energy usage during the summertime is a lot lower. We're having trouble normalizing the data and getting everything aligned correctly. So as of right now, no, there's no predictive trends, but we hope to integrate things like weather data to see how weather affects the usage of energy in our building.
How would you like to see UH use the data that you've shown so far?
What I'd actually like to see is our total usage to go down to 0. That would make me extremely happy. We want UH to use this to identify what's costing them money, because in talking to Miles Topping, the challenge sponsor, UH is on a special eco schedule. They get charged based on their peak usage within the past 12 months. If we can help offset and visualize the peak usage, then we can save UH a lot of money, because that peak usage charge costs, I think Miles said, over $300,000 a month.
Make it fast real quick. I know it seemed like in the demo, the time scale kind of seemed to contract automatically or expand. So I don't know, can you just talk about that?
So there was a slight hole in the data at the end there because we don't have the most latest data. But the graph appears and it shows the whole domain of the power data, and then you can zoom in with your mouse and drag left and right to go through the different dates. And as you zoom in, you get more finer details, breakdowns by the hour. If you zoom in even further, and if you get the data for every 15 minutes, you can see that kind of interval.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our second team that is presenting on the UH Energy Management Challenge is Team Pika.
Hi everyone, I'm Kirsten and this is Sean and Herman. We're representing Team Pika and this is our video.
quickly visualize and understand the energy consumption throughout UH Manoa facilities. Our app opens with a view of the energy consumption over the past year. We can select a series of buildings and specify a date range to display the total energy consumption by individual hours. The left gauge gives us the average kilowatts per hour between all points in the interval specified by the arrow. The green areas indicate the average energy consumption for our given selection, and the orange areas indicate the maximum. The light blue zone represents UH Manoa's goal of reaching 50% of its current energy consumption by 2035. The right gauge provides us with a conversion from the average kilowatts per hour to the average CO2 production in kilograms. We can also compare the energy consumption between our selected buildings using the time series chart below. To visualize the data geographically, we utilize a 3D map of UH Manoa's campus with a gradient of darker shades of red representing higher energy consumption for a given building. In this view, we can also specify a time interval and select any given building to get the average hourly and total kilowatt per hour consumption. Our app also works cross-platform, working on iOS devices and Android devices alike. The architecture of our app is built upon cloud technologies AWS RDS, Lambda, and S3. We also utilize open source technologies Chart.js and Mapbox for our visualizations. By taking advantage of cloud computing, our app is efficient by using server resources only when there are users making new requests for data. This makes our app highly scalable, lightweight, cost-efficient, and most importantly, energy efficient. By utilizing our project, we hope to assist UH Manoa and the state of Hawaii to reach their 2035 net zero energy goals.
So same question as the previous team. Do you guys have any predictive analytics built into your data visualization models?
So we didn't build in predictive analytics to this model because the data set we're working with was just a snapshot of the 2017 data. And there's a lot of anomalies that are due to hardware errors that we couldn't really track because we didn't have the level of interaction with that. So we hope to implement that in a future version when it's in production.
It looked like on your graphs, you're using some curve fitting and some other things there, because I noticed some cases where the curve is going up in between data points. We know you don't actually have that data. So is there some flexibility in how you would curve fit that data so that you're not implying, certain things in between samples? What's your data? Basically, the question is, what is your data analytics platform for that?
So Chart.js just on the hood is this linear interpolation between the missing values. Actually, with the HACC scale, it doesn't show all the labels just because there's actually hour intervals over the course of 7 days like we showed. So there actually is data points between those. It's really hard to see.
Any further questions? Thank you. Okay, we are on to our next challenge. We are now going to be looking at the University of Hawaii Waste Audit. And our first team presenting is OWO.
One can.
With the Oahu Waste Organizer app, also known as OWO, users can ditch physical spreadsheets for a clean, streamlined method of data input and visualization. On the landing page, visitors can access the results of past and current events and find more information about the audits held at UH. Waste audit participants can register, log in, and input data from current events. This data can be visualized in real time and compared against the statistics of different buildings. In this way, OWO gives users an easy, straightforward solution for storing and visualizing data.
Aloha everyone, our team is OWO. What is this? The Oahu Waste Organizer is a web application created to streamline the process of input and visualization. This makes it easier for users to compare data and gain valuable insights about the obtained information. So, the OWO app aims to replace pencil and paper and implement a simple, straightforward design for a cleaner way for input results. We concentrated not only on the concept of data collection, but also building a sense of awareness and community. Interested individuals can quickly register to participate in waste audits, and by simplifying the sign-up process, people within the UH Ohana can easily get started building networks and coalitions across a common goal.
So some key features of OWO is an adaptive collection form and data visualization. We have a flexible input form that conforms to the user's needs. So let's say you find Twix, left Twix wrapper. There, you can add a custom category to that. And we also have several graphs for data visualization. We have a heat map that visualizes the trash per building, and you can compare that with different UH campuses. And graphs can be used to visualize data per audit and also compare data among events and other campuses. We hope our app will help people become aware of waste and promote better sustainable actions for Keikis future. Thank you for listening.
So what platform did you use for the data collection part, and what part did you use for the heat mapping and the data analytics?
For the data collection, it's HTML, JavaScript, and CSS for the data input, and it goes to a Firebase database that's used to store the data.
And then for analytics, what was used to process?
And the analytics, we used pie charts for the data visualization for the graphs, and Google Maps API for the heat map.
Any other questions? We're good. Thank you very much.
Well, hello teams. You guys are moving along very well. I'm very proud of you. Keeping it all on time. All right, our next one for the UH waste audit is POT, pieces of trash.
Good morning. This is Team POT, where every piece of trash counts.
So when it comes to waste auditing, we need to look at our school, Kahal Public Charter School. Kahal Public Charter School is actually one of the first schools in Hawaii and in the nation to accomplish a zero waste program. So the way they do it is through, of course, the trash auditing process. So what's important is not just the data, is that they actually get students involved in the process so that as they collect the data, they make changes to their lifestyle because they can see the impact they have on the trash. So I'm here to present my platform, POT. So as the name suggests, we want to count every piece of trash. Not only do we want to make data visualization easy and appealing, we also want to get people involved in different process of the waste audit process. So in our first home screen, we can see two parts. One is a pie chart showing proportion of trash collected on any given day that's aggregated throughout the day. You can see how location is different location, Moanua High School and Keller. And on the right side, you can see a time series plot showing how the weight of how the trash decreases or increases throughout multiple days. So for example, from November 8th to November 8th to November 10th. And not only can you do all locations, you can actually do, let's say, Keller and Moanua High School and compare them all. And as a Keller graduate from the math department, I want to see, oh, Moanua High School is actually doing a lot better than we do. So I want to know from data how much better are they doing. And this is through the concept of competition, where we compete by seeing how many changes each location is bringing to. For example, Moanua High School is winning the challenge by 46.1%, while Keller is doing 5.83%. So in the location, you can actually add action steps. So if I'm a Keller graduate, I want to know how Moanua High School is doing so great. I can take a look at how they're installing recycle bins, and they actually make decrease and changes in their waste count. We also implement a machine learning solution so that when you upload your image, for example, when you take the image of the trash, instead of counting them manually, you actually segment out each individual trash and count it for you. And that takes away the manual process of counting. Machine learning makes mistakes, so we also implement a correction system so that when enough data get aggregated, the next time when this paper cup comes back, you actually identify that as a correct paper cup instead of mislabeling it. Thank you.
Again, I'm very interested in your AI. So how accurate is it right now? Have you been able to scrape a lot of images, or it's just as the users add information into your database?
The image are trained on InceptionNet v4, so we already have some kind of knowledge about what waste it is and already be able to pick up features. So as we add more trash to it, it can correctly identify more. So for example, in database we might not have apple, and now we have apples because so many apples have appeared in the database.
Question.
Thank you. You mentioned the charter school, and I see Moanalua here. So can you, is this being piloted in both of those places, or how is that working?
No, Kahal Public Charter School, I bring this up because it's actually one of the first schools that's doing zero waste. I bring up Moanalua because I'm from Moanalua. And that's just one example that I use. And they do have paper recycling going on in the system.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Which of the state goals did you consider beyond, if any, beyond the specific one that was part of this challenge? Did you look at more broadly at the goals, or did you focus pretty much on the challenge as well?
I was focusing more on the challenge, the waste audit challenge, but I also want to bring a step ahead. We all know data, but we want to tell a story from the data. And the steps that we can do that is by implementing action items and encourage everyone to actually participate. Not everyone can go and volunteer and take a picture of the trash, but everyone can, list an action item that encourage others to do the same.
you. Our next waste audit team is the Johnson family.
Greenhouse gas emissions are changing the world at an alarming rate. The UH Department of Sustainability wants to set an example by reforming UH into a sustainable institution. Our solution is a two-pronged approach aimed at helping the DOS achieve this goal. Our web app Gather features a robust database in the cloud, a submission form providing a delegate approach to data entry, and compelling selection of visualization that accurately convey the implication in the data, all wrapped in a clean, simple, and intuitive user interface. Our Smart Bin leverages this cloud database, introducing data passively and with little effort. Gather is an app that helps bring together waste, people, and data. These are important actions that help administrative bodies create the policies for the better health of our environment and allow us to come closer to sustainability as a whole.
That's a nice story, isn't it? Even has a fancy video. But that's not how it really went. See, in the days leading up to the submission deadline,
Here.
in the days leading up to the submission deadline, it became increasingly apparent that we would not finish in time. But there were just we overcame so many hurdles as a team, but there were just too many things for us to handle in our student lives. So, did we give up? Hell no! This is a competition, my friend, so we brought it. We immediately switched gears and focused on making the Smart Bin a reality. Sure, our app is beautiful and well designed, and maybe after the hack could be an empowering tool in the hands of the DOS. But the concept of a powerful, centralized remote database is not unique, and that is what really highlights the features of our device. Our Smart Bin introduces a passive stream of data that can be used to supplement community waste audits by placing it in high-volume areas and promoting it to sustainability-minded students with things like banners and signs. It can easily provide a lot of data with very little effort. It uses embedded technology equipped with infrared proximity sensors to count items dropped into the bin, and load cell weight sensors to record the weight once it's full. Then, at the push of a button, the weight and count of items are sent through the cloud to an MQTT broker ready to be recorded by any app with internet access. In today's world, big data is king and Internet of Things is ubiquitous. Why not combine them to fight in the name of sustainability? Thank you.
Can you blow us? Can you blow your screen up? Because I want to see what the input was. And I'm old and I can't see that far.
the Wi-Fi was not up, so it didn't.
It didn't pick it up.
It didn't send it, but
Okay.
if I connect now, it might, because it's queued, it might show up actually.
Do you guys have any other questions?
I'd like to applaud you for sticking it out and all of the teams that have really taken the time. You know, it's easy for the judges to kind of sit here and watch the presentations, not really fully appreciating the amount of time and effort it takes to being handed the data or not, and all of the complexities. So I do appreciate that, and you know, that's visualized. So thank you.
There it is. So what you see is a JSON string that's got location, building, and a bunch of IDs hard-coded in. And the idea that it is placed in a spot and stays there. So the only variables are the weight and count.
So how do you envision this actually being utilized? You know, if you can get it to your ideal, you know, end product.
So Nicole usually records it on. So as we all saw from Nicole's presentation, she records it on paper, and so we also get rid of the waste of paper, and we have an easier system where if we have like multiple trash bins set to categories, we can have it count automatically rather than have like a paper system. So everything is like through technology, I guess.
Also, she really emphasized the community aspect of it, so we didn't want to take that away from her. We wanted this just to be a supplement. So if we were to do something like, you know how companies would rent space in front of Campus Center or in Paradise Palms and just have like their presentations for their company, it's kind of like the same thing with the UH sustainability. How the HACC kickoff, there was all those bins that we could all, because we're sustainably minded, sort our own trash. And if that were to happen more on a regular basis, that would really help fill out like the database that Nicole is trying to envision.
Thank you.
Our last team to propose on the waste audit is Wasteland.
Hello, we're Team Wasteland. Wait, turn on the sound. Pull up on YouTube. Stream this.
Is it listening to videos from your desk?
No.
Seek it.
Ready? Oh, sorry, can you go back?
Gotta sync it.
So I'll count down and then we'll just push play at the same time. See how this goes. 3, 2, 1, play.
Waste is a problem. As garbage breaks down, it harms wildlife, enters the food system, and who knows what it's doing to us. My husband and I want to have a child one day, but we don't want our child to worry that trash thrown away years ago might be harming them. I think parents want the best for their children and would like to see less waste on our beaches, in our oceans, and in the food stream. There's a concept called zero waste, which is a philosophy that encourages the redesign of resource life cycles so that all products are reused. In other words, a sustainable world in which no trash would be sent to landfills, incinerators, or the ocean because it would all be recycled. People want to be a part of this future, but there are barriers for them to participate. Data collection isn't standardized, data submission is inconvenient. Coordinating a large effort is difficult too, and it can take years to analyze the data so that it's actionable for advocates to use to change our systems. So what can we do? Wasteland is a Salesforce app that makes it easy to manage waste audits and collect and analyze waste data on a large scale. This is the Waste Audit Success Platform. We transform the way waste audits are conducted. Scientists can define the data to be collected. Anyone can participate by checking their waste and reporting on it. And analysts can turn big data into a big advantage. They can track waste trends from first contact through to the results of interventions. Because Wasteland is cloud-based, all of the information is up to date in real time and available no matter where you are. It's a modern app that partners and other stakeholders will find engaging and exciting. Advocates can take the results and use it to change laws and companies in ways that lead to zero waste, all within a secure, trusted, and instantly mobile environment. Let's get to zero waste together with Wasteland.
This is the application. By logging in, you can see the starting dashboard. See how users can use this to contact numbers. This is our interface to insert waste data. This is our dashboard where you can see our easy to customize data analytics. If you have a contract, you can install the native Android and iPad clients.
So you guys use the Salesforce platform to do this Lightning app, I'm assuming? Yeah. So did you look at integrating anything like photos or other pieces of their infrastructure to help with this stuff? Because they have lots of integration with all kinds of IoT devices as well, right?
Sure. I think we wanted to limit our scope to something that was achievable and manageable at the same time. Something that we could show you and feel confident and speak about it. They do have systems that you can easily add in lots of modules and fields for pictures, so should I?
And thumbs up for the whole guys. Good job, guys. Very good. Thank you.
So that concludes the teams that are presenting on pre-set challenges. Our last two teams to present are propose their own open challenges. The first one is on locating trash or trash location, and it is by Clean Up Hawaii.
Hi, my name is Zachary Klein, the team leader of Hawaii Cleanup. Do you hate trash?
Yeah!
I do too. Welcome to Hawaii Cleanup. So our value proposition is keeping Hawaii clean, one post at a time. So the problem is, Hawaii is the most beautiful state in the US, yet there's a large collection of trash scattered all around the islands, and there's not enough being done about it. So our solution is a user-friendly, social media-like mobile application that user-friendly social media-like application is easy to use, and it only takes 3 steps to post on our clean feed. Snap it, tag it, post it. Snap a picture of the trash, tag, your current location will be automatically pinned as a trash location so other people can easily find the location, and then just post it to the feed. So our goals of all this is to make the cleanup process quicker and easier for various individuals and cleanup groups like 808 Hawaii, 808 Cleanups, excuse me. And by having this, each post has a pinpoint location of the trash so they can find it quicker and easier. And also, we're hoping that the social media user interface helps motivate people to help clean up. Helps people, the social media-like interface will help people clean up communities more. So the future of our app, we envision 2 things. One is sponsor a post. So an individual can put a dollar amount on their post, and whoever cleans up that individual post will get paid that dollar amount, and there will be a verification system to make sure that he actually cleaned it up so no one goes to the feed, just clicks on all the things and gets paid. And also another idea is trash analytics. So basically every time the person goes to clean up, they will get a form through the mobile application, and they can fill out the items they cleaned up. And we can see how much they cleaned, what they cleaned, and how our app is helping to clean up Hawaii. And this is a video describing the functionality of our mobile application. Wait for this to load. There we go.
Hawaii Cleanup Team.
A student rushes to class, stumbles upon bulk trash, and doesn't have time to properly discard it. He logs onto the Hawaii Cleanup app using his email and posts a geotagged image of the bulk trash. 2 students who frequently use the Hawaii Cleanup app live in various rubbish or when they're walking out. They locate the rubbish on the map and dispose of it. After discarding the trash, they click the Done option on the app, removing the post from the feed.
Thank you, and we hope together we can clean Hawaii for our present and future Ohana. Thank you.
So as the payment piece or paying someone to pick up that trash, how do you envision that payment piece of the app to work?
How do I envision it? So basically, you can think of it as a sponsor post. So if someone puts $1 on that post and you do it, and then once you clean up, there will be a notification sent to the guy who posted it, and then you can double check that it was cleaned up, and then the guy gets the money. This can become sort of a low income for people. If there was all these posts with dollar amounts, people could actually go through and pick up this trash and get paid for it, and then in a result, clean up Hawaii.
So how do you envision managing verification of that?
It would be more, well, it's more of a future feature, but we would envision it as, like I said before, you would post it, and then once it's clean, the guy would say, if this is clean, then a notification would be sent to the guy who posted it his phone, and then he can check it, or what we think of now is that he would have to check it himself, but we are consistent in finding a better solution to that. And yeah, he can also send the guy a picture of that spot, and then if the guy wants to confirm it through that, he can do that, or he can go himself.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Guess what? Guess what? We're on our last team. Also an open challenge, and it was an extension of the waste audit challenge with some different features, taking it a step or two further past that. And the team is Curb Alert.
Hi, we're Team Curb Alert, and our app is called Waste. Make sure you're really free, like close. So we've heard a lot about the problem of waste today, and we have a solution to help with that. We've created an app that will help educate the public in terms of helping to properly dispose of their waste, but as well as help with waste audit collections. So our features involve schedules, which allow users to find their schedule for their waste collection. Also, they can use maps to find recycling centers, and we also have waste audit forms. So these are screenshots from our mobile view and our desktop view of the home screen. And here's more detail on the desktop for the schedules. And we do have maps integrated so that, or we're working on that more further for recycling centers to locate those, as well as other areas of interest. And here's a sample of our waste audit forms, where we can divide it by organization, and they can enter items, and it can aggregate the items, and we do eventually want to export this. So the name of our team is Curb Alert. That came from the idea that people often throw away bulky trash items, and sometimes it's not really trash. Sometimes it's reusable. And we'd like to allow people to post if they see something that perhaps is a raw building material being thrown out, or some other item for a craft, so that people can connect and we can prevent this item from going to the landfill. We'll also, the other feature enhancement involves creating organization accounts for organizations like UH Manoa. yeah, we will also have notifications and have a great deal of search functionality both within maps and within the data collected. So that's our app. Thank you.
So in your accomplishments and this dev post that you put that, I think one of you, Alyssa, you didn't have a big development background. Can you kind of talk us through, your experience and what you've learned?
She's
She's running away.
or running away.
There you go.
I'm Alyssa. Yeah, so I had little coding experience, so doing this, it took me a little longer than usual, but I learned what Ionic was, and all the elements. So what I did the schedules and the maps pages for this app. Yeah. What was it? Questions?
So good job on that. This is what the code challenge is about. Introducing people that don't really know how to code and learning this as a process. So congratulations on that.
Any other questions?
Very good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much to all of our wonderful teams that have presented today. Great job. I would like to ask the judges to pack up their computers and their papers and take them down to the lunchroom now. And then I would also like to ask our sponsors if they would like to go to lunch first. That's why you pay us the big bucks to get to you as thank yous. The hacking that you're participating in today would not be possible without our sponsors, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Department of Agriculture, Kaiser Permanente, Transform Hawaii Government, Data House, PAXA, Salesforce, Caresoft, and Unisys. Hopefully you have gotten a chance to either talk to them already today and say a word of thanks, or you will get to after this session. I'd like to once again recognize our presenting partners, and that is the State of Hawaii, Office of Enterprise Technology Services, Hawaii Pacific University, Hawaii Technology Development Corporation, and the Agathon. This series of events has been planned, brainstormed, and contributed by an amazing community committee that comprised DevLeague, Hawaii Green Growth, PCAT, Sultan Ventures, Accelerate Hawaii, Talia, Abraham, Thelma Lane, Sheila, Buya Kakar, Brooke Carroll, Stuart Crawford, Jasper Green, Chelsea Harder, Manir Hodges, Mondi Jamshidi, Philip Johnson, Carolyn Julian Freitas, Ed Souza, Jennifer Silva, and Dennis Usigi. All right, so a big thank you to all of our volunteers today. Thank you. As we are getting ready to go to lunch today, I'd like to remind you we are trying for a zero waste event. We did really good last time. Let's do it again this time. We appreciate you bringing your water bottles today. Please help us dispose of any waste responsibly at the zero waste stations. You'll see different types of recycling and food waste bins. They end up in different places. Our goal is to divert more than 90% of what we are using today from landfills. So mahalo for your kukua in this area. Now, for the People's Choice Awards, please go to this bit.ly link. Volunteers, sponsors, participants, mentors, observers, everyone can vote at this time. You have 2 votes. One is for a high school team, and one is for your general team. And we will leave this open for the next 10-ish minutes. Basically, I will close it at 12:45. I ask that you only vote once, and the bit.ly is case sensitive, so it does have to be all caps HACC. Okay. Any questions before we go? Great job today, folks. And we will see you after lunch. We are going to try for 1:30 back up here. All right, thank you.